And here we go. I think that's recording. Brilliant. So today I'm going to introduce Kim Field, the appropriately named Kim Field, because what we deal with is fields, wave fields of energy, and electromagnetic fields, radiation fields, whatever you call it. So it's fantastic to meet Kim, who reached out to Omnia asking if she could do a big order for her whole company, which was actually a first for Omnia, because sometimes we talk to customers or companies, but they get a bit kind of like, oh my God, too many rules, can't buy in bulk unless you've got all of these boxes ticked and so on. But Kim reached out to us and said, listen, I trust your technology. I really want to put it on, everyone's desk and everyone's computer and so on. So we're super grateful to her for taking that initiative. And I just wanted to say hello to Kim and tell us a bit more about how you discovered Omnia.
Hi, Tim. Thank you. So a good friend of mine had done some research and found your company, and we love sharing information back and forth. And she started telling me about it. And I've always been very interested and concerned about cell phones and the amount of work we do on computers. And is that okay for everyone? So when she told me about it, I did a little research as well and reached out to your company. And my husband and I own an engineering firm in the United States and Massachusetts. And I'm always on the lookout for things to help my employees increase their benefits in any way I can. It's important to me because we're at work for so long, it's a good part of your day. And I have always felt that if you're going to be here working for my company, I want you happy. I want you healthy. For a personal reason, you're going to do more work. I mean, It just makes sense as a business owner, but as a human being who has worked for other people and I own my own company, I'd want to be happy. I would never not want to be happy where I'm working. So that's always been my philosophy. So my employees are kind of used to me coming up with some new idea of how I'm going to achieve that. So when I saw the product, I started thinking about all the computers we have, cell phones. We certainly have a lot of we have a big server room. We have plotters, scanners. We have the router. Oh my goodness. Well, we don't have any TVs, but we have plenty of things in our office. So I did reach out to your company. I wanted to know, what could we do, because I wanted to buy a lot of them. And we can talk about this. We haven't actually discussed this yet, but we have scanners. I mean, big scanners. We print out, if you can imagine, like architectural plans, like big plans. We have plotters and whatnot. Is that something I should be concerned about? And then my also goal was, if my employees embrace this, I was going to put everything on, and I have put everything on in the office. But if they embraced it, I would also then buy more stickers for them to use at their homes. We had a meeting about it, and I said, I would never force this on you. Of course, we're going to do it in the office. So if you don't want anything at your home, I'm okay with that. But if you do, I'm also willing to buy those for you as well.
What amazing goals. Looking after the staff, not just making sure they're happy, but also we would like to think healthy as well, and in their optimum vibration while they're using these radiating devices all day. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I've always felt that way. And I tell you, all our employees have been with us, most of them since day one, and we've had our company since June of '97. All of our employees are here at least a minimum of 10, 15 years. There's no reason to move on.
Right.
The grass isn't all that greener anywhere else.
Yeah, that's good. I've got good loyal staff base then. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Clearly because of the way you treat them, which is actually quite rare, but that's good. I mean, it's more likely in a smaller firm, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's funny. We have one of our employees who has been with us for a long time, and she'll laugh when she hears this, but she was with us when she started at 16 years old, and she worked with us for a few years, and she had to do a little bit of driving around for us because we have to go to Registry of Deeds, different town halls. So there's a little bit of travel sometimes and looking up records and whatnot. And she wasn't sure she really liked to travel too much. So she worked with us for a few years, and then she said, you know what, I'm not sure this is where I want to be. So she worked at a couple other companies, and she called back and she said, no way, please, can I come back? She's like, it's not as nice out there as it is here.
Yeah, learned her lesson.
And
She's like
she's
a
been with
boomerang.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been with us. She's in her 30s, and she's been with us longer than we've had her more than half of her life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic.
So
And tell us
thank
about
you.
the impact. Tell me about the impact a little bit. Like how have people responded to having these crazy patches on their desks and or computers and so on?
Sure. So we just got them actually this past week, and I put them on so that our company does own or pay for some of the cell phones of my employees. So they all got the stickers, all our computers. One question I will have, and we don't have to answer it right yet, is I do have a room that has what we call our server room that has quite a few different computers, and I don't even know what else the equipment is in there. I'm wondering how many I need to have in there. I have a few on in there. So I have those. We have, well, we're going to also have to talk about the plotter and the scanner. I don't know if I should put them on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I got them for all. And what was kind of fun is when I went to put on, so as you and I have talked already, I also have a background in energy medicine practitioner and a massage therapist. So I know muscle testing.
Mm.
So as I was putting the stickers or having the employees put them on their phones, I had fun, and I think they did too, that I would muscle test them with no electronics around them. Then I would have them put their phone that did not have the sticker on it in their pocket, muscle test them again. Then I would have them take that out, and my phone at that time, I had put the sticker on it. They put my phone in there, or actually, no, we put the sticker on their phone and then put it back in their pocket and muscle test them again. It was crazy, and they all saw this. So
wow.
When I muscle test the first time with nothing around, they were kind of strong, had a little waver to them, but strong enough. When I put them, muscle test them with their phone with no sticker on it, totally weak. Right. Broke their stance, very weak. When we put the sticker on and they then put their phone back in their pocket, they were rock solid, even more so than they were with nothing around them. It was crazy, and they all saw it.
Wow. And felt it. Yeah. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Well, that's such a blessing that you knew that skill to, inquire of the body, how it feels about something. Is it a yes or a no? It's really simple. And for us, we've been using that technique as well as one of our tests to show that there is efficacy in the balancing of the radiation field, and then how the body then says either yes or no. And, we always get yeses from our customers or whoever we test. So it's really wonderful that they have that, luxury of you being their boss and being able to also test them and say, look, I'm not completely mad. This is going to help you, so that's fantastic. Wonderful that, you can be convincing like that. Yeah.
So a couple of employees, like I said, it's only been a couple of days, have said they think their sleep's a little bit better because most of us, like most people, we have the phone right by our bed. And it's interesting. I also have it by my bed because one of my daughters is away at college, and that's the number she's going to call if there's an issue. So I have found this week, I've had stints of being able to sleep for 5 hours straight without waking up, which for me is huge. It's usually 3 is a good stretch. So I was so happy that I got an extra. I get up, maybe go to the bathroom, then I'll go back to sleep. But just to be totally asleep for 5 hours was pretty cool.
All right.
So
yeah. Well,
so I've asked
once you remove that kind of magnetic stress from your life, then all of the natural rhythms of the body will start to restore themselves, because we don't realize how much stress this causes us in our bodies. And here's the funny thing, that you think that you are going to register every time your body is under stress. But with these types of field, it's very subtle and we don't register it. And then it becomes a surprise to us when we do a muscle test and our body just gives us this very clear, signal. Lots of people in their mind go, that can't be true. And they push it away and think that you fooled them or something like that. But actually it's your body crying out to be heard, to say, do something about this, because I often give the analogy of radiation or phone radiation, wireless radiation, being like an orchestra, right? Of sound, of wave fields. And if you could hear it, if you had a sense to hear it, it would be like a horrible noise. It would be an orchestra tuning up, all out of tune, and you'd be like, oh, well, that's horrible. But you can't hear it, and you can't see it, and you can't really feel it unless you're electromagnetically hypersensitive. So what we do at Omnia is we just tune that orchestra up so that it's making a nice sound, and then the body just goes, oh, and then you a lot of functions in the body that were previously maybe under stress then get back to regulation, or coherence. Yeah,
absolutely. So I had an interesting thing. So the bed I sleep on has a platform that if you needed to, like the head can come up or the feet can come up. And because it's electrified like that, on the side of it, there are USB ports. So you could actually plug your phone in there to charge. And when I first got the bed, I was like, okay, why not? I have an outlet by me, but I was like, well, I might as well use that. And didn't dawn on me at first, but I would find that a lot of nights when I would get in bed, and I'm not an anxious person at all, I would get kind of keyed up. I don't know what's a better word for it, but like kind of jittery. And I'm like, I'm tired. I was fine, about ready to go. I couldn't figure it out. So as I said, I'm an energy medicine practitioner. I would do some energy work to help me calm and do different things, which helped. But for some reason, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try not plugging into my bed and just use the outlet. It definitely helped. But now I feel even calmer with the sticker on. But I mean, if anybody out there, please don't plug into your bed, because that is just sending your body right through. I don't know what, but it was not good.
Well, you see, we definitely advise against even having your phone on, or certainly your Wi-Fi router on, while you're sleeping, because sleeping is the most important thing to your immune function, right? And
Absolutely.
There's another part of that, which is that when you sleep, your pineal gland is always looking to see whether it's nighttime, right? So, for example, if you went to sleep at 2:00 in the afternoon, your pineal gland would say, well, it's still daytime, and I don't have to secrete all of these, hormones in your body to detoxify and clean up your immune system or your body. And a classic example of that is that the pineal gland secretes melatonin at night, right? And it's looking out to say, is it nighttime? Is it nighttime? And it gets disturbed by all of the light and the energy that's produced by cell phones, which is incredibly powerful. That energy field around a cell phone. If you've ever held an EMF meter next to a cell phone, it goes berserk. There's so much energy going on there. So the pineal gland sees that, because it picks up all types of light, invisible and visible, unlike our eyes, which can only see so much. And It gets confused and doesn't secrete the melatonin. And ironically, the melatonin is there to clean up the blood-brain barrier. And the blood-brain barrier is the layer between the skull and the brain, that collects toxins all day from everything, from things that you ate, from negative emotions, from stress, but also from electromagnetic frequencies that you are literally putting right next to your brain. So you need that function at night to shut the body down, take the light away, take the mobile phone away, and just be in your complete safety zone when you're sleeping.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I tell my clients all the time, like, get TVs out, get computers out. Cell phones can be a tough one to have out of your room just because of communication.
Yeah.
Keep it as far away as possible, definitely, if you have to have it in there, but all that other stuff, as far as I'm concerned. Put it in the next room,
super loud. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I am thrilled. And so since then, actually, my employees, I haven't heard from all of them, but all the ones I have heard from have said, I do want to bring it into my house. Can I work this weekend on coming up with a list of all the different things that we should be looking at, how many I need? And so we're going to be putting another order in to cover everybody's home stuff. So I'm really excited about it.
Yep.
I did have a couple questions on some placement of things, and also some things that I'm not sure if we need to have them, and I would love your input on. That's all right. So, well, I think one of the things I mentioned, we have a room that has a desk with probably 5 or 6, I'll call them servers. I am not a computer person, but computer servers, I guess, units. Do I need a sticker on every one, or a couple is enough? Or
considering that you just want to do it once, and the fact that Omnia patches do last forever, so the energy in the patch never turns off, it's a good idea to just do it once. It's a set and forget. So I would say yes, because every radiating device is radiating, right? If there's one that isn't, then then in many cases, say you had 10 servers in a rack, if you patched 5 or 6 of them, then that vibration would have a good impact on the other 5 or the remaining ones. But in general, if you just patch them all, then you do create an even more powerful balanced energy field around them. So my answer would tend to be just be safe rather than sorry, and just get them done. But the root cause of all of this is electrical current, right? So what we would say is that all electrical current is imbalanced, right? And there's a difference, in terms of the impact that it has on the human body, with energy that is imbalanced and energy that is balanced. And I won't go into all of that detail right now. They can find all of that on our website, but ultimately it's the position of the 0 point, the magnetic point inside the electrical field, whether that's in the direct center or not. And with all man-made electrical fields, the 0 point does not sit in the center. It moves away. It becomes a kind of agitated energy field. So what happens is that, when we come into close contact, i.e. we're touching these electrical fields, then our bodies are like perfectly balanced energy fields with a perfectly centered 0 point inside all of our cells, which are also electrical current spinning around a centered point. You get that meeting between the perfect balance of the electrical currents of the human body meeting the imbalance of a radiation field from a phone. So sorry, I'm just going to get my phone out. I was going to say, so me touching that is basically me, the electrical currents in my body meeting imbalanced electrical currents in a phone. And what we want to do is put an Omnia patch on so that we basically make all of the energy that's in here in the same vibrational pattern and rhythm as all the energy that's in here. And then we get resonance. We get an electrical harmony between these two electrical fields, right? And that's what you saw in your muscle tests that you talked about earlier on. When that resonance comes in, you can go super strong. Your whole body can go strong. And we want that. We want strong bodies while we're working, or we're, doing anything, even working out, even running around with your Fitbit on or whatever it is. So the first answer to your question is that everything that is electrical, that is man-made, is radiating with what we would call an imbalance, right? Something that's not balanced energy. And we can balance that out. But then there's a second level of awareness that's required, which is that what are the risk levels, right? And the risks are all governed by, number one, proximity, right? So if your servers are hidden away in the corner and, no one goes ever near them ever, then they're less of a risk because, this is proximity holding it.
Absolutely.
And, like I said before, if you put your EMF meter next to this, it goes very, very high indeed. And then if you put, very strong electrical fields next to your brain and important organs in your body, in your pocket, for example, then that is, I wanted to say dangerous, but that is a risk, right? So proximity is number one. Number two is exposure. So how long in the day are you exposed? Are you working on your laptop, or are you making sales calls all day? Or, and most of us are, we're now completely dependent on our devices all day. So how long are you touching these fields all day? And for most people, it's about 7 hours, if not more. So that's number two. And then the third risk is what strength is the signal? Is it 3G, 4G, 5G? Are you downloading video? Because when you download video, there's more data coming through, and that's stronger radiation fields, right? So, when I make a call on this phone, there's less radiation coming in than when I'm downloading a YouTube video, for example. And I've tested those two scenarios, and it tends to be more if there's video data coming through. But even just having 3 or 4 apps that are polling information all the time on one of these is a strong field, right? So those are the 3 risk factors. So when you are kitting out your office, just consider those things, because if you only want a certain amount, then that's fine. If there's a TV in your meeting room, then people are 2 meters away from that TV and they only watch it like maybe half an hour, 1 hour a day. It's not as high priority as the laptop, the phone, the Wi-Fi router in the corner, which is, pumping out electromagnetic fields all day. So that's the way I would assess what to patch.
Okay, good to know. So I wasn't even realizing, so you're saying anything electrical, go through that 3 assessment, basically.
Yeah, exactly right. I would, absolutely, yeah. Because, and the other benefit is that as soon as the more devices around your office or home that you apply a patch to, then you literally transform that energy field into something that then talks to each other, right? So all electrical fields are resonating with each other, right? They're all talking to each other. I always give the example, if you take 2 guitars, right, and you hold them next to each other, and then on one guitar you pluck the A string, right, really loud, then what happens to the other guitar is that the A string on the other guitar starts to vibrate and it starts to make a sound, right? And only the A string, because you pluck the A string on the other one. So if it's in the same frequency band, it starts to resonate with that. And that's exactly the same as what happens in the human body. We are cell towers too. We are literally towers of cells, an electrical antenna of a body. And we walk around and we respond to everything, whether it's sunlight or having a hug or good food or good music is a classic one. You hear really good music, your hairs on the back of your neck stand up. That's an electrical reaction, because we are always reacting electrically to things. So when we walk into a EMF radiation field, electrically we pick up whatever that is broadcasting. And if that is broadcasting imbalance, we pick up the imbalance in our own electrical being, in our light body, if you like. So so yeah, as soon as you patch all of the devices, they start talking to each other and creating a resonant positive vibration in that network. Okay.
So I know, like in a home, you talked about certainly the microwave and the refrigerator. What about like a stove or an oven kind of thing? Is the heat too much for it, or should it be on the outside? Or
yeah, I don't know. If it's an electrical oven, just somewhere on the electrical oven, I think, where it's not going to get hot, because remember, it is a sticker, and so you get it really hot, it will burn. But again, your proximity to an electrical oven is not that much, right, in the grand scheme of things, but it's not a bad thing to patch,
Okay.
The other things in the home that are very useful are the smart meter, because it's a source from which lots of energy, is downstream, and baby monitors as well. If you've got a baby monitor, those things can be, wirelessly radiating and next to a kid's cot and that sort of thing. Smart meter. Sorry, so talked about smart meters. Cars, really important. If you ever get an EMF meter in a car, the readings go incredibly high, because it's like a Faraday cage. It's like a metal cage into which you're receiving your GPS or your wireless data or whatever. And then sometimes you got like 2 tablets in the back, with kids just watching a movie and whatever. And all of that radiation doesn't go anywhere. It sits within your metal frame. So that's a really good thing to harmonize.
So actually, I was going to have a question about cars, but I think you kind of just answered it. Is this more for newer cars that have the GPS systems and the more automated and computer systems. I think I mentioned to you earlier that I have two daughters. One's in college, and she doesn't have a brand new car. She has a much older car that doesn't have GPS and all that. But where you just said you put into it, not that she's driving around with a laptop, but she certainly has her cell phone with her, which is now protected. But anybody else getting into her car with a cell phone or something, it's just bouncing all within there. So having a patch in her car as well, even though it's an older car, is still a good idea.
I would say so, and the rules for putting one in a car. I mean, I'd just say that because of the trap effect, the Faraday cage effect, like in cars, because we spend a lot of time in cars. That's the thing.
Sure.
So wherever you spend a lot of time, or if you spend a lot of time on your phone, that's the exposure part, the risk element of the exposure. With the older cars, I would put it somewhere near the electronics of the car, to just balance out all of that electrical activity in the car. With the newer ones, there will be a dashboard showing all of the data, with the GPS, and the computer will be on its own mini computer within the car, right? And you stick one on that. Those would be the two examples there. But one other thing is that, when you have a patch on your phone like this, you actually bring in about a meter circumference around you, which will, be almost like what we call a protective bubble. And the reason we know that works is because of muscle testing again. So I put this phone in my pocket, and then I put someone else's phone, which is unprotected, in the other pocket. I'll still pass a muscle test, because this will be talking to the other one, and it will override that energy. So that's how powerful it can be. It can reach that. So for your daughter who has someone else in the car who's bringing imbalanced energy, well, it'll balance her energy, but maybe she wants to have a chat with him and make sure that he's okay when he gets out of the car, that kind of thing. Yeah. So
And does it matter putting the sticker on? Does it need to go on a metal section of anything you're putting it on, or is plastic or glass, or does that matter?
It doesn't really
matter.
What
it actually gets attached to?
No, it doesn't really matter. But for example, if you're on a laptop, you want to put it on the base of the laptop, because that's where the motherboard is. That's where the chip is that receives the wireless data. The screen doesn't receive the wireless data. So, and it's sometimes detached, even though it's like on a hinge or whatever, that there's not that connection. So you want to go to the source of where the radiation is, and then just put it on that source so that it becomes part of the radiating device. It's really important because proximity, we talked about earlier on, is very important. The energy field that is in the patch has to be connected to the energy field that is the radiating device. So it doesn't really matter if your phone is plastic or metal or whatever it is, it just needs to be on the back. So it could be at the back there, it could be at the back there, it just needs to be on it and connecting with it. It should not be on the phone case, right? It has to be connected to, because that's an energy field in there, and this is an energy field here, and the two things need to be connected. That's all it is.
Okay. Sorry to keep asking about the car. I just want to make sure I'm really putting it in the right spot. So on my car, where I do have a GPS system on that screen and whatnot, does it need to be on the screen itself, or like the frame around it that might be plastic or whatever the cars are made? Can I put on that, or does it need to be on that glass?
Well, I think it's difficult to actually put it on the glass, because they're built so that they can fit into very small areas, and then you'd be obscuring something. But if you had enough space on the glass, then I would put it on the glass, but I doubt if you will. So just finding somewhere just on its side, on the side of that is good enough.
Cool. So one of my friends, actually, who has her own business and whatnot, she had a question, was that in her house, she's got quite a few, and I hadn't even knew that this existed, a smart light bulb. So I guess they can take their phone and through Siri or Alexis or whatever it is out there, say, hey, turn on the light in the living room.
Right.
Light in the living room goes on. should they be putting that on like every light bulb that they have that on, or? I know.
I would say probably not for a light bulb. Again, if you hold your EMF meter next to the light bulb, it's not going to go completely crazy. The amount of power, as I keep saying, the amount of power that comes into these things to serve data is really considerable. So I would just say that if you had your smart meter done, the fact that connects to all the energy in the house, that's a good start. If you've got one on your Wi-Fi router, that's an excellent start, because that is, again, you take your EMF meter next to the Wi-Fi router, the readings go very, very high. To do every light bulb, it's possible, and you could do it. I would say that certainly with the Internet of Things, there's going to be more and more and more things like your toaster and your kettle and things like that are wirelessly connected in your house. So you should be aware of that. If you wanted to be completely, take the risk out of the equation altogether, then yes. But I would just say that there's an element of overkill in that. And if you did want to do it, then you would just basically put it around the wire before it got to the bulb. So you wouldn't put it on the bulb, right?
Right.
You put it on the wire that connects to the bulb. So the bulb's down here and there's something coming out of the ceiling or whatever, you just put it around that electrical current there.
Sure. Well, I have an EMF meter coming. I think it's coming on Monday. Right. Today's Friday. So I'm looking forward to it. And I've already talked to her. So we're going to go all over your house and just start playing around with it and seeing where we need to put more stickers. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you find. It'd be very interesting. One thing I will say, just so everyone's really clear, is that, I gave the orchestra analogy earlier on, which is that if you could hear the radiation, the vibration of the radiation around you, you'd be like, oh my God, that's a horrible sound. We do not reduce the volume of the orchestra, right? We do not reduce the EMF that's around you. What we do is we tune it up so it makes a nice sound, but we don't lower the volume, because some Omnia customers go, I don't understand, we passed the muscle test, but yet my EMF meter is still showing very strong readings, right? And I say, well, that's because it is the same strength field, but it's now balanced and centered, which means that we've moved the 0 point directly into the middle of the field, whereas it used to be going all around the place, and the light ring that of electrical current around that radiation field carrying the data was never in the perfect torus shape, which it should be. So we just basically imagining that that's a torus field, if you like, we move that 0 point of through the energy that's in the patch, we move that 0 point directly into the center so that it's in alignment with the energy in your body.
Okay.
But we don't lower the strength of the EMF.
Okay. Well, I think that's all my questions. We're really excited about it. Like I said, we're already starting to see, I've asked my employees to really try to keep track of, how you're feeling, especially on days when we're really crazy busy and you're on the computer a lot, or do you find that you don't get as tired anymore? I said, I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's everything. We'll see what happens. But everybody so far is looking forward to it. So we're excited.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you being such a good boss, but also, coming on here to tell us your story, because it's wonderful to hear such positive feedback. It makes my day. So, thank you, Kim, and we'll keep talking and see if we can help more and more businesses and people.
Perfect. Thank you, Tim. I really appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you. Kim is an Omnia affiliate already, and she has a 10% discount code, which we've put in the notes below, and you can use that at the Omnia store. However, she's also able to offer bigger discounts to any office that wants to buy in bulk for their whole team, which will bring balance, harmony, and hopefully a bit of productivity to your workplace. If you're a business owner and this interests you, then please send an email to this address and we'll put you in touch with Kim. Thanks for watching.